the oldest systematic program of German idealism. And ethics, since in the future the whole of metaphysics will collapse into morals, of which Kant, with his two practical postulates, has given only an example and exhausted nothing. All ethics will be nothing more than a complete system of all ideas, or what amounts to the same of all practical postulates. Naturally, the first idea is the representation of myself as an absolute free being. With the free self-conscious being, a whole world comes forth from nothing, the only true and thinkable creation from nothing. At this point, I will descend to the realm of physics. The question is this: how might a world be constituted for a moral being? I would like to give wings again to our physics, which progresses laboriously with experiments. So, if philosophy gives the ideas and experience the data, we can finally have the essentials of the physics that I expect of future epochs. It seems that the present physics cannot satisfy the creative spirit, as ours is or should be. From nature, I come to the works of man. First of all, the idea of humanity. I want to show that there is no more an idea of the state than there is an idea of the machine, because the state is something mechanical. Only that which is an object for freedom can be called an idea. We must therefore go beyond the state. For every state must treat free human beings as if they were cogs in a machine, but that it should not do. Therefore, it should cease to exist. You can see for yourself here that here all ideas, for example that of eternal peace, are only subordinate ideas of a higher idea. At the same time, I want to lay down here the principles for a history of humanity, and to expose down to the bone the whole miserable apparatus of state, constitution, government and legislation. Finally, come the ideas of a moral world, divinity, immortality. Through reason itself, the overthrow of all superstition and the persecution of the priesthood, which recently pretends to reason. Then comes the absolute freedom of all spirits, which carry the intellectual world in themselves, and which may not seek God or immortality outside themselves. Finally, the idea that unites all others, the idea of beauty, taking the word in a higher Platonic sense. I am now convinced that the highest act of reason is an aesthetic act, since it comprises all ideas, and that the truth and goodness are eternally united only in beauty. The philosopher must possess as much aesthetic power as the poet. People without an aesthetic sense are only philosophers of the letter. The philosophy of the spirit is an aesthetic philosophy. One cannot have spirit in anything. One cannot even reason in an inspired way about history without aesthetic sense. Here, it should become obvious what people are lacking who cannot understand ideas, and who frankly enough confess that everything is obscure to them as soon as it goes beyond charts and indices. In this manner, poetry will gain a higher dignity, and it will again become at the end what it was at the beginning, the teacher of humanity. For there is no more philosophy, nor more history. Poetry alone shall outlive all other sciences and arts. At the same time, we are so often told that the great multitude should have a religion of the senses. But not only the great multitude needs one, the philosopher does so too. Monotheism of the reason and the heart, polytheism of imagination and art, this is what we need. First, I will speak of an idea here that, as far as I know, has still not occurred to anyone else. We must have a new mythology, but this mythology must be in service of the ideas. It must be a mythology of reason. Before we make ideas aesthetic, i.e. mythological, they will have no interest for the people. Conversely, before mythology is rational, the philosopher must be ashamed of it. Hence, finally, the enlightened and unenlightened must shake hands. Mythology must become philosophical to make people rational, and philosophy must become mythological to make philosophers sensuous. Then, eternal unity will reign among us. No more will there be the contemptuous glance, never more the blind trembling of the people before its wise men and priests. Only then can we expect equal development of all powers, of each individual as well as all individuals. No longer will any power be repressed, and then will rule the universal freedom and equality of the spirits. A higher spirit sent from heaven must establish this new religion among us. It will be the last and greatest work of humanity.